how can your energy shift, client, so that you're broadcasting a different signal so that you're positively influencing others, then it multiplies. Next thing you know, their energy is higher and that comes back to you. And it's this really remarkable, I wouldn't believe it myself if I had not seen my clients do the same thing or myself do the same thing, of seeing how our energy can positively uplift and influence others.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Anna Melikian, and before we start with today's show, please remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
This episode is an interview originally recorded on Tommy Acierno podcast Inside Out. Tommy has over a decade of experience working and leading teams at companies like Google and Trimble, and is now a coach helping successful professionals experience deep fulfillment with their careers and relationships. Tommy is also a lead trainer for the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, iPEC. Let's go to our conversation.
Today, I'm doing something a little different than usual. You usually spend about 15, 20 minutes talking about a recent experience and how that applies. I thought I would bring in what I'm going to call the big guns and bring an amazing, amazing person that I am so thrilled to have here. Her name is Anna Melikian, and she has an outstanding podcast called the Mindset Zone Podcast. We'll talk more about that. Please listen to it. Highly recommend it. I'm going to plug so much of her podcast because it's so amazing. It's so powerful. But I wanted to bring her in because so much of this work on inside out interpersonal transformation, I mean, that's it. It's about working from the inside out. So Anna has amazing experience and expertise in working with people in their mindset and helping to create success and strategies in that way. So first of all, welcome, Anna. It's so amazing to have you here.
A pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh. So I say we start at the beginning. What brought you into this line of work, Anna?
And that is always a great way to begin from the beginning.
Yeah.
My background was all in psychology, between academia and the psychotherapy as a practice, as a psychotherapy. And if people are wondering about my accent, I'm originally from Portugal. So I raised and I did my studies there. And then I went to England and Spain, and where I did all my academia training and psychotherapy training. And one of the things that we do in academia is traveling, presenting in conferences. And I came here to the United States, Phoenix, Arizona. That is where I live now. And in one of the congress that I came here to present, I met the person that a couple of years later became my husband. And as part of that personal journey was moving here to the United States. And suddenly I had to reinvent myself professionally because the rules of how psychology and psychotherapy work in Europe are very different here of the United States. And in my own quest to find the third door, so a big door slap in my face, I was looking for windows and another door. I discovered this beautiful thing called life coaching that I thought, whoa, this is all my training in psychology, all my training in psychotherapy that was a lot about the inside, the personal development element. We are the tool that we have to help others, the tool is us, and we have to sharpen that tool as much as possible. That was all the school of psychotherapy that I was in. So personal development was a big element of it. And life coaching is just another amazing tool for personal development. So I start to tap into it to find my own north and where I was wanting to redirect my life professionally, and even because meanwhile I got married and started a family. And I really say, I love this. I can bring all my background and help people with this tool. So I decided to become a life coach. Love the training, amazing transformation, all that good stuff. Ready to start my business. And what happened next? Because in Portugal and in Spain, I was very lucky without realizing how much luck that I had, because honestly, for my private practice in psychotherapy, I had to print business cards. That was my marketing, printing business cards with the address of where I had office at the time, because I was teaching in a private university there. So that gives me the credibility, visibility. People were the ones asking me, do you see people? I have somebody that I would like you to refer to, or people, I read this about you. I really, really would like to work with you. So when here in the United States as a life coach, I was not just figuratively, metaphorically, I was literally a needle in the haystack, even with a beautiful website. There's so many people out there with this amazing tool that made me, okay, and now where are the clients? And a part of my mindset about these things is that if there is a problem, let's look for a solution. If there are other people doing it, there has to be a way, a process to doing it. So I start to study what other people were doing out there to be successful online. And in that quest, I found the Book Yourself Solid system that was created. The book is the author of the system and book is Michael Port. And I got the book that starts to transform the way that the mindset, my belief and perspective about marketing. Because until then, I was always seeing marketing and sales as something that I had to do this. And with the Book Yourself Solid, I realized that was the shift that marketing and sales is just another way of communicating. The marketing mainly is a way of creating relevance, awareness, and communicating. And I like that. So that I start to enjoy the process. And the sales is really by being able to invite somebody to work with us in a more direct way, one-on-one or in the group format, we have a better opportunity and we are in a better position to help the other person. So that reframing was extremely transformational. And I start to see things happening and be much more effective online. And other people that were with me in the journey start to ask, what are you doing that is working? And I will start to speak about the Book Yourself Solid. And to make a long story short, I reach out to Michael. I became part of one of his training programs. And a couple of years later, I was one of the coaches. And now I'm the director of education for Book Yourself Solid. And from a life coach, I transform into a business coach that I'm helping other people. I like to work with different makers, people that want to make a difference. They want to really leave a positive impact out there. So by helping them to be more effective online, I'm really creating a bigger impact out there. That is very important for me.
Oh, so beautiful. Yes, having that impact and what sounds like a lot of your talent is, your superpower is creating solutions, is finding those new windows, those new, like, doors are closing, new windows are opening, new doors, and you're looking for these new solutions. And it's not only that you're just looking for them, but that you can really grasp onto them and really take them to that next level, right? It wasn't just getting maybe your undergraduate degree or starting graduate school. Like, you were very, very, you saw the path of academia and education, and you really grew there. And then you came to the United States in Phoenix. I'm going to be near there in a couple of weeks. It's like, where can I go from here? And I discovered life coaching, and it built up and up and up, and then Book Yourself Solid. And now not only you're a coach, but you're directing the operations or education and really supporting those difference makers out there. And I feel like so much of our journeys are aligned in that way. Right? When I went through the iPEC coach training program, I was back in the classroom as an assistant trainer, later as a lead in training, and now a lead trainer for them as well, helping to co-create new coaches. And so I think both of us are pulled to educating, to teaching, to opening, to finding those solutions, and do it in a way that really grabs those difference makers. And that's a big part of the inspiration behind Inside Out interpersonal transformation. Is it's making it a difference in people's relationships so that they can be successful. They can be these different difference makers. There's a quote I want to come to. I'll come back to it here in just a little bit from your website. But from your point of view, with the people you work with, say the coaches you've worked with, or especially the corporate professionals you've worked with, how have you noticed their mindset affecting their relationships and their success?
So let's go first, mindset and success and sustainable success. And then the relationships, we can take it from there to the relationship level. I like to see that for us to have a sustainable success in business and in life in general, I like to imagine a triangle. One side of the triangle is mindset, is our beliefs, how we see the world. The perspective that we have, and we can do a lot of work in terms of the mindset, extremely powerful mindset shifts. Even small mindset shifts can be extremely powerful. But that is just one part of the triangle. Then another side of the triangle is about having some kind of strategy, some kind of plan. We can get without that, but we still is the trial and error. And we still have a sense of direction. If we don't have a plan of strategy, it's going to be not very straight. The side of that triangle is going to be a bumpy road. But if we know the true north, we still can arrive there. But I love to have a strategy. I love to have a plan. So you have the right mindset. You can work your mindset. You can have a good plan, a good roadmap, a good blueprint. But you still need another side of the triangle. That is implementation. You have to be implementing. You can have the more amazing dream and the more amazing mindset and the great plan. If you are not making it happen by implementing it day in, day out, even, or mainly when things are a little bit harder, you are not going to make the magic happen. So that is a lot. And our mindset, I see it as fundamental, as essential, but not enough. We have to have the other components there too. And that for me is the secret of success. And part of it, because we are not just a triangle isolating the universe to implement and to get the best strategies and to learn from others. And even for our mindset, we need to connect with other people, with that relationships with other people. It's famous in the mindset world, on entrepreneur world, we say we are the average of the 6 or 5 people that we surround ourselves with. Why? Why is that? It's because their way of seeing the world influences our way of seeing the world. If we're surrounding ourselves with people that see possibilities out there, we are going to see more possibilities out there. If we surround ourselves with people that have a very narrow view of the possibilities or reality, it's more difficult for us to have that expansive view. So that at the mindset level is our relationships so important with diversity, in my opinion, learning from different sources. Then in terms of strategies, I think there is a time that we are exploring and we have to explore different things. But when we find there are many strategies and plans that work, we have to pick one that resonates with us, that is in alignment with our values. And then just don't overthink, don't overanalyze, just go for it and implement it. And there I learned so much with others and from others in terms of high performance, in terms of what we know about using our energy and all the resources that we have to be able to make things happen. I don't know if I replied to your question, but that are my initial thoughts on it.
Well, as a fellow coach, you know that there are no right or wrong questions and definitely no right or wrong answers. So many things I think align so beautifully. And the first piece, especially on mindset, and when you're talking about that famous phrase or ism, I suppose you can call it, of, you're the average of the 5 or 6 people that you surround yourself with. That's a big pillar of the work that I'm doing. And I call it broadcasting. It's when we do work from the inside out, what I mean by that is doing the work that shifts that energy that we broadcast out into the world. Because you're right, because exactly that, other people influence us. And so we reverse that and say, how can your energy shift, client, so that you're broadcasting a different signal, so that you're positively influencing others, which then it multiplies. Then next thing you know, their energy is higher, and that comes back to you. And it's this really remarkable. I wouldn't believe it myself if I had not seen my clients do the same thing, or myself do the same thing, of seeing how our energy can positively uplift and influence others. But what I think is really powerful about what you said is we do not stop there. We can sit in meditation and broadcast positive, amazing energy. But that's not what we're here to do. We're meant to play in this world. We're meant to interact with this world. And so that does mean doing, it does mean taking action, and you can do a strategy. And I love how you approach that, because I think for some of us, strategy can be intimidating. Strategy can be scary. It could be like, I don't want strategy. I'm free. I'm flexible. Like, I'm autonomous. I don't want any of those things. And what you said is really, really powerful, which is there are a lot of strategies out there. Don't pick the right one. Pick the one that aligns with you and your values, and then do the work and do the action aligned with that. So of course you answered the question and did so in such a beautiful way. And so I promised I wanted to come to this quote, because I'm curious to see maybe how you live it. I think might be fascinating to hear about. It's top and center on your website. It says, life is 2 days, and the first we spend waking up. I want to say that one more time. Life is 2 days, and the first we spend waking up. And you talk more about this on your website, but what does that quote really do for you?
It's a reminder.
Yeah.
It's really a reminder, because I have several awakenings. And it's not that we can say, well, wake one and it's done. No. I must be in my 20s when there was a Portuguese song that I used to listen in the radio that had that phrase that really impacted me. And at the time was like in the beginning of my adulthood, my independence. And I was waking up from my teenage years and starting to alter my life in a more independent way and decide where I was wanting to go. So it was very meaningful for that at that time. But now I'm in my 40s, and I had some battles health-wise. I had some with cancer and came out in the end, and things are looking really good. But that is another awakening. That is another, and with the decades comes life challenges and experience, and we can learn. Hopefully, we will learn from the tumbles that life gives us and transform that hardships into opportunities, the lemons in lemonade, and in gifts that we can transform and learn from. And it's another awakening, because we cannot look to the past in the same way or to the future in the same way after we have that awakening. We see it's really some life experiences and are make other say it's like when we have that awareness, when something clicks, we cannot put that how do they say, put the paste on the tube again. It's out And we have to decide, okay, are we going to let this messy or are we going to do something with it? And I like to do something with it. So, and I'm sure that I will have wake up again in the future and look back, oh, okay, that is part of the journey, but I want to embrace that and feel each time and each new challenge and new opportunity to learn, a new awakening that I have, as to grab life even in a more stronger way and feeling more alive and more like and then I think it's again the decades when we arrive to the 40s, 50s, we realize that why the other people expectations have a different value. And I think we have the opportunity to really, okay, we start to arrive to that middle of the road. There are enough forward. If we are like, yes, there was back. So how do we want to use that time? Literally, if life is 2 days and we arrive more or less to the middle point, now we have one more day. What are we going to use on that one more day? And to really be purposeful, to feel meaning and to leave our mini dent in the universe, but feel that we are living. And that is one of the things that I like to. I work a lot with many of my clients are baby boomers, late generate Xers, but they don't want to throw the towel. They know that they have a lot of things to give to themselves, to give to the others. And this new world of online maybe is a little bit intimidating for them, but they are determined to get a handle of it and make the best use of it. And I love to be one of their guides in their process, helping them, teaching them how to use these tools to spread their message and their impact out there.
Amazing. And because the key to that, of course, is waking up. And it's about waking up to where you are. And I mentioned this earlier. So now it makes a lot more sense as we start to learn more about each other. It makes a lot more sense why this lyric from the Portuguese song that it's inspired by hit you so well, because you're so amazing at, anytime the toothpaste is out of the tube, your thought isn't, how do I get it back in the tube? It's, what do I do with this? It's another, Rich Litvin, he wrote The Prosperous Coach. He likes to say, messy is sexy. Like, we can work with a mess. We can do something with that. But without the awareness, without waking up, we're not going anywhere. And the moment we have that awakening, when day one ends, it's a beautiful, precious time, because you realize you do have day two to then decide what you're going to do with it. And I love that you brought this up. There isn't just one awakening. We actually have several awakenings, but whatever your awakening is, whenever it happens, that's the start of day two, which means the day of doing something, the day of action, the day of what kind of solutions can I create from this? And if you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to Anna's podcast, my guess is that you've already had some kind of an awakening, right? If you're listening to my podcast, you already had an awakening that there's room to grow. There's perhaps a messy toothpaste out of the tube relationship right now at work. And you're on to day two, which is, what do I do about this? If you're a late Gen X, or if you're a baby boomer and you have that pull to do something, you want more, there's more you're going to give to the world. That's your awakening. And Anna's going to support you with that. And that's what I think is so cool about our kind of work is there is so much out there. There is so many resources, but the awakening is an individual journey. It's per person, and no one can, we can't wake someone up. Sometimes life can do it. Life has a pretty good snooze alarm, or it's not a snooze button, an alarm clock. Yeah, exactly. But it's up to each one of us to have that awakening. And I love, because, you also talk about the nature of freedom, and that even in constraint can deliver some freedom. So how does constraint provide freedom in that second day after you woke up?
And I'm all about seeing possibilities. And
Yeah.
that is part of who I am and one of my core values and one of my strengths. And one of the things that I teach people, seeing possibilities. And at the same time, I know that if we're just staying on the seeing possibilities with not deciding, now I'm going to take this one and go with it, we are limiting ourselves. There is where constraints provide us freedom. So we have this time to do this. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Because if we don't have that constraint, we keep pondering along, and going along, and don't get it done. So that is an example we need, even for creativity. If you think about people that live from their creativity, like writers, painters, and many other artists, they have to create constraints for their creative process to come up. Typically, the writer is sit up in front of their computer, or in old times, the typewriter, on their paper, and just write. Even if it's not good, they have just to be there to do their work. Or the painter, sometimes I think we fall a little bit, if I'm inspired to, I will do it. The inspiration usually more often happens. Sometimes we are struck with it, but more often happens when we create the constraints, the conditions for being ripe for it to happen. So it's not either or, but let's use all the tools that we have. Yeah,
it's like, as soon as you gave that metaphor, because I know you love to teach and speak in metaphors, it's a very effective teaching technique. And I think you mentioned it on your website too. Right? You have a canvas that actually provides a constraint.
Yeah.
At the same time, to an artist, they have complete freedom, complete creative freedom. So it's really just about having some kind of structure, which why I think your triangle approach makes a lot of sense, because that's the canvas, that's the structure that's going to support you in where you are right now. You woke up, congratulations. Now let's go on to day 2 and decide what it is you want to create. Now, just like an artist, you can use any paint you want, any brush you want. You don't even have to use paint and brush. You can use, it's a mosaic, or who knows, I know a couple artists, they use a lot of different mediums. And the opportunity, though, is still there to express yourself and express what's still inside, ready to give and express. So one more thought here, and then I think I'd love to learn more about how folks can reach out to you. I guess I'm just kind of picking apart your website, but I really enjoyed reading through all of it this week. You end with master your thoughts, your time, and your talents for your most significant contributions yet. How would you best describe what that mastery is or looks like?
Trying, going for it, not waiting for perception, just is again the implementation thing, because I'm a recovered perfectionist, I'm a recovered workaholic, and it's part of the learning journey. But if we are not improving, we are really, how can we master? And yet there is, how to say, I love another metaphor of, if we think about software development, the minimal viable product. Mm-hmm. We run with it, we learn from it, then version 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and then version 2. I think that is a great way, mainly for entrepreneurs, for business, and for life in general. Just let's be out there, do the best that we can, and learn from it, and then go again.
Amazing. Well, what I love about that is mastery is not, the way you describe it, mastery is not a goal. It's not a destination. It's an approach. Mastery is going for it and then learning and iterating from it. And I love, coming from the corporate technology world, I definitely resonate with metaphors like MVPs, and even Reid Hoffman also has a fantastic podcast called Masters of Scale, one of my favorites. And he's a co-founder of LinkedIn. And he famously says, if you're not embarrassed by the first product, meaning the first software you put out, then you waited too long. You should be embarrassed. That version 0.01 is the one that you push out into the world. What's version? Well, I love this metaphor. Here we go, Anna. What's version 0.01 of you in your relationships? And this is rhetorical for everybody. In your relationships, in your business, in your career, in any area of life that you feel like you've had an awakening towards, and you're looking at day 2. What does version 0.01 look like? And then go and do it. Anna, this has been absolutely astounding. We could talk for hours easily. I wanted to borrow just a small portion of your time. So what are some good ways for people to reach out to you, learn more about you, and connect with you if they're interested?
So my name is where I am everywhere, Anna Melikian. That I presume that you will put that on the notes.
Absolutely.
Too. But if you are listening this as a podcast format, go to Mindset Zone to subscribe to my podcast, and then mindset.zone will take you to my website, the podcast page in my website, that is annamelikian.com, and that is where I keep everything up to date of what I'm doing.
Oh, beautiful. So funny story, how I found Anna. And actually, she doesn't even know this story, because I was looking for some other podcasts to potentially partner with in some way. And the way I found your podcast is I pulled up Apple Podcasts, my local app, and I look for podcasts that I think would be similar to this one, right? And yours was in like the top 4 that was listed in business. And I did exactly what you suggest. I went for it. I was like, I'm going to email this amazing person, and I'm probably not going to get a response, but I'm going to go for it anyway. And not only did I get a response, but I have the honor of sharing space and time with you today. I'm going to cry. I get emotional that way sometimes. So it's such an honor to have you here. I'll absolutely have your name in the show notes and links to your podcast, your website, so people can learn more about you. And if you're just, mine's a relatively new podcast still at this point. So if you're just now listening, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you. You know what I was going to say, of course, because Anna's a very accomplished podcaster. And so another reason why having you here is such a tremendous gift and a treat, and speaks volumes to your energy, your power, and the difference that you're making in this world. So thank you so much, Anna.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. To learn more about Tommy and his work, visit tommyacierno.com, TommyAcierno.com. You can find these and other links on the show notes.
Expanding possibilities, the Mindset Zone.
Thank you for listening, and remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone. As always, I'm so grateful you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.